Wow. Sorry.
Thank you.
All right. Hello, everybody.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Welcome. Y'all asked and we delivered. Because clearly me and Key's perspective wasn't good enough. So no, I get it. I totally get it. So we are going to do part 2 of blended families, single momhood, single dadhood, co-parenting. And we have Mr. AJ wanted to bless us with his presence. Yes. So we appreciate him so much. Thank you, man of God. I appreciate you for coming on.
I'm happy to be here. What just did? Here I go. I'm happy to be here.
You're good. So usually we just kind of give a quick, intro to who we are, how did we even get to this, season of co-parenting or blended family. So if you don't mind, can you share your story?
Oh yeah, sure. So I've been married, it'll be 10 years in July. And when I got married, my wife had 2 boys, and then we had my daughter in our first year of marriage. So yeah.
Okay.
So that's my dynamic. Yes. So it's a blended family at its best.
Yes. Wow. Yeah. So if you don't mind me asking, how old were the boys?
Oh man, young. I know one. Maya might have been 5. Yeah, because I remember 11 years. So Maya turned 16. So Maya was 5. And my oldest was maybe like 9.
Wow. When y'all met?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I didn't know that they were that
young. Wow.
Yeah, Maya was just about to turn 5.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And okay. All right. And so y'all kids are kind of spaced out like evenly too, a little bit too, like 4 years-ish apart.
No, so we have 19, 16, and then 9.
Oh no, I lied.
Yeah,
I practice Azzy.
I lied. It's about to be our lives, maybe. If it don't happen anytime soon, we looking at 15 to 15. Lord help us.
So how was that going into your marriage with my beautiful sister? How was that going into a marriage with 2? She had 2 and you had 9. How did that, was that a?
Well, it was different for me because I didn't want to date anybody with kids, period. So that was one of my like one of my deal breakers. Like I didn't want to date anybody with kids. And we actually were like friends. We were actually like just homies. We were co-workers at the time. And I was engaged actually to somebody else. I was engaged and I had just called off my engagement, and she was just like coming out of a relationship. So we were like, we're just like sit and talk, and we would just hang out all the time. So we would like hang with each other every weekend. And then it turned into a thing. People were like, oh, y'all look so cute together. So they would call us Barbie and Ken. So then, right. Cliche, right? So they would so cliche. So they would call us Barbie and Ken. And she actually tried to hook me up with her cousin first.
Oh wow.
Yep. So when I came, she had a party, like a luau type of thing, and she invited me. I'm sorry, I'm actually taking her in this now so she can get it. So she actually invited me to the party, and she was trying to hook me with the cousin because her cousin was like this. So her cousin would call all the time. So me and the cousin would argue all the time because like, why are you calling her at work? Like,
Oh, okay.
And then it turned from that into like something like, where it was just like, I'm like, well, I'm not really interested in the cousin. I'm good. I don't want to date nobody anyway. And then we wound up hanging out. Yeah, and she said, oh, well, I would never date you. She's like, you two, like, I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna tell her what she said. But yeah, she said, you two, yeah. You're too friendly.
Yeah, like you like people.
Yeah.
So, I love that y'all were friends first.
Yeah, that's so important.
Yeah. So
that is so important.
So that took away like that, I guess what your deal breaker was, because you saw her and not like you knew her kids clearly, and it was more of like a more personable, not like just dating somebody straight from the street, like you didn't know them. Yeah. So that's thanks for sharing. That was good.
I didn't know that.
So when So when did you get introduced to the kids?
Yes, that's important.
Actually, it was like earlier on, but I didn't get introduced to them as that. I think I was giving her a ride. We were in a training together, and I was
okay.
we had to be at the we were working in banking. We had to be at this training in like East Blip somewhere. So I was like, well, you can ride with me. She was like, well, I have to drop my kids off at school. So that's how I actually met them. I would drop them at school. We would drive up together to the training. And then, eventually I would just, because it's, coming over, hanging out. But again, nothing relational at all. And then, just start liking the boys, and we would laugh and talk and joke and stuff like that. And then eventually we started dating. Yeah.
So I
this is a friend first.
Right. So
y'all hear that, people of God?
Friends first.
Get to know the person, people of God.
Yes. And you know what? I love, like I said, I love that those those things like your non-negotiables and stuff like that those surface things honestly kind of go out the window. Mm-hmm. Not to the fullest extent, right? Like we got some real non-negotiables, but those key things stick. But like, dating somebody, honestly, I prefer someone with a kid.
Is it because you have kids already? Is it because you have a kid already?
Yes, because and not to say like it's no one out there that will understand or anything like that, because clearly you did, right? And so, but in my dating seasons, like it's hard to date somebody that don't have kids because they think that you can just up and go. And I'm like, actually, no, I have to like find somebody to like watch my kid. Or
it depends on how old they are as well. I think that plays a part.
That's very true.
True. Or like I don't want somebody that's just like a weekend dad.
Yeah.
Like you gotta like, I want you to be like involved. Like I don't want that.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah. Cause like I'm not a weekend mom, so I can't like,
You can't take off when you want. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And I think that definitely plays a part in it, but I think it also she was intentional about making sure that we had our time. So that did play a part. It wasn't the kid part. And I think that even like mothers, fathers, you have to understand, like eventually your kids will grow up. Your kids will grow up, and then
you're left with each other.
Literally, you're literally left with, and then if you're not dating, you're left with you.
Yeah.
And some people are okay with that. Like my mom is one that is just she's listen, the best, she feel like it's the best decision she made. And that works for her. You know what I mean? But sometimes, like even, and I'm an only child, so sometimes there's certain things, then responsibilities. I'm like, Mom, I wish like you had a husband that would just take you on a cruise. I know she can go on her own, but it's still, it's a different dynamic. Like, I'm not spoiling her as much. I probably still would, but I wouldn't feel like a certain weight to do certain things.
Right. Okay.
You know what I mean? If it was somebody else in the picture, so it plays a part.
Yeah. Okay. Wow, that's good stuff. So I do have a question. So I know last time we kind of touched on schedules as far as the children, and us as moms, like we're like trying to figure it out. So let me just say, everybody's situation is different. Everything is not cookie cutter. We just are going off our experience and what we had to deal with as far as single mom, single dad, co-parenting, blended family. So let's just put that out there. So I know we touched on schedules last time. Mm-hmm. We gave our perspectives about scheduling. I just think the biggest thing is communicate with me and let me know something. Like if it's not going to happen at this time, say, hey, maybe a half an hour later, or it's not going to happen today. I think that's our biggest thing. But we also talked about consistency with schedules.
Yes.
So with you having your 3 beautiful children, like with I don't want to mention their names on here, but with the 2 boys, how was scheduling for you and your wife? Like how was the scheduling with possibly going to the other parents' house, or how you guys had to navigate through, doing different things and activities?
Well, earlier on it was a little easier because there wasn't like at all active. He wasn't interested. So it was a thing of like, it wasn't a situation of just like, okay, well, I want to be a part of it. So it was super easy. When the problem actually came about is when they, wanted to pop in and out. But again, like you said, that consistency piece. And I realized even, being, like I said, the only child, being raised in a, single family home, that type of thing.
Oh, okay.
So coming from that, the consistency part of it, because the woman holds it different. So it's like, so now you can't pop back in. So now that you want to see them, you're not going to see them because you're not going to do it on your time, your schedule. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's almost like a resentment piece of it, because I also am the same one that when you say that you're going to be there, they're crying to me when you don't show up.
Right.
So I understood that portion of it, because I was that kid. Like, well, hey, well, and that question of, well, why can he go there? Why can he do this? And he can never show up when I need him to, like, or it's always on his terms. So it's like, that was important. And that was important to me to never keep him from there. Like that, I'm never like, if you want to go visit your dad, go visit him. Like I never wanted to be that guy where he grow up and resent me later. Right. Because I didn't want to be that person, which is one of the reasons why I really didn't want to date somebody with kids, because that's something I never wanted to have to deal with.
Well, understood.
Good, because I have a strong personality, so it's like it doesn't take me much. So one good time, and then I'm like, "What's up?" So we're actually just like, and we're almost 11 years, and we're actually really just getting to the point where like we can have conversation, and like
that's so good.
You know what I mean? Like the actual paternal piece of it is really like tapping into like, oh, okay, well we can have a little conversation now, or they just get into that maturity state where it's not a competition, like but
right.
They do have a certain structure here because, I take care of them.
Right. At the end of the day,
I take care of them, and I also had to witness my wife go through the headaches of the up and downs when y'all decided to fluctuate. They have to protect my home holistically, not just the children, not just my wife, but just the culture of my home. Period. So that was something that we had to say, have a conversation with, like, hey, this can't be. You have to respect my boundaries, because at the end of the day,
you brought that up.
Yeah. So
I like that. Respect the boundaries.
Respect the boundaries.
That's so good. And I like the fact that you mentioned that they are starting to mature.
Yeah.
In this space where y'all can have a conversation, because at the end of the day, I just realize, like, I really feel like, in my opinion, is that there's really about the children. If we can get to a common ground and talk about these children, then we are okay. We're in an okay space. Yes. All the other stuff don't even matter.
And I would say that too, like, so Anthony, I would so my situation is that I'm a co-parenting single mom, right? And my kid is 11, and we have not been together since he was 3.
Okay.
And because we were together, like living together, like whole relationship together, it was a breakup plus learning how to navigate this single parent. So the opposite of your situation, I was raised by both parents.
Okay.
And now I'm a single parent. Yeah. So I'm like, what's this? I don't know what this is. Like, I don't understand why I have to ask you to do certain things. Like, my dad was more than willing and capable and did it, and like didn't complain about it. You know what I mean? So it was always different. And I always said that I put God and Tristan between us, because if I did not, I didn't want my kid to resent me.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah.
So it was always them two, because I could not, like, it was very difficult, because I just did not, for one, I didn't want to be the typical, right? I didn't want to be the angry, bitter baby mom, so it was just a lot of processing.
They can make it very hard not to be, like, and that's one thing I watched even with my mom. My dad was like, because they were like, they did it on and off, you know what I mean? And then when I turned 10, my mom was like, yeah, that's a done deal, never again. But my dad was one of them flashy guys, like, he'll pop in, he'll drop 500 here, or he'll pay for a trip here, or go to Disney World, or he got some Jordan, son, etc. That's great. But it was like, when it really mattered, he wouldn't show up, or he would do certain things to get to her through me. So I watched that as well. So it makes it very, very hard. But I respect my mom so much now because of it. And it did help me in my situation now, because it was certain things, like certain conversations I wasn't allowed to still have, or it was certain things that nobody could say in the family about my father, regardless of how horrible he was in a moment or how great he was, in that moment. It was certain conversations that's still your father, like, so that type of thing.
That's so good.
Certain things certain decisions I was allowed to cultivate and to like really like formulate on my own, develop on my own about who he was, and realize it wasn't something that she like kind of pushed on me or even suggested. And it's been times, it was conversations that she didn't even know that I heard. You know what I mean? So it was like a lot of things that, you know, I was allowed to, you know, really form my own opinion.
But look how that turned for you to have married someone that had kids already, that was going through the same. Like, I'm telling you, you're so strategic. Like that kind of stuff blows my mind every single time. Like,
yeah. And I wasn't, I'll be honest, I wasn't always the most mature in the situation either. Because
because you just go through all of these things.
Yeah, because it's hard when you like, listen, man, I see you walking down the street and you got Sneaker Bullet bags, and here I am trying to figure out how I'm gonna buy your son, my daughter, my wife. I'm like, well, wait a minute,
and yourself, okay,
and myself. I can't even think about myself yet. At that point, it was like, I can't think about myself yet. So, and it was moments that literally, and we lived at one point, we literally lived on the same block, but like we lived like maybe like, so we were on one side of Germantown Avenue. They were literally on the other side of Germantown Avenue. He did nothing, like did nothing. And I would see him all the time, like in driving or passing, and he would always be leaving the Ave with a new bag with some sneaks. That's his thing. You know what I mean? And it would kill me because and even the interview's tricky too. It would always be those weeks where I'm just kind of like, how am I gonna do this? How am I gonna figure this out? And you walking with bags. Or with some of your other kids and they got bags.
Huh?
Like, yeah. So it wasn't, so it took me, and I would say within the last like month or two, like it literally, like when I say God put me in a situation where it was like, I don't resent you, man, but I don't have no rep. God put me in a situation where he literally like walked to my car.
Wow. My Lord.
I said, oh. So I went to go pick him up, walked to my car and opened my door, and literally was like, my son was like leaving the house, and he was like, hey man, you know, so good to see you. Now in my mind, I'm not gonna lie, the other side of me popped up like, if he walked down here. Now I was mature enough because my wife was busy. I said, no, she was doing her hair or something. I was like, listen, you're busy. I'll go do it. Don't worry, it's late. I got it. I'm like, you know, I'm bigging myself up for that. Like I did so good. This was like 2 months ago. So that was big of you, Anthony. I get there and he starts walking down the steps.
Oh my!
Instantly, it was like all the years of nothing popped up, and it was like, ooh, wait. If he comes to this car today, I promise you, I'm ready. I'm ready. And he really came, but like even I don't know if God's working on him or if he's just in a different space. I don't know. But literally, he came to my car like we were best friends.
Wow.
Best friends. Told me how great I was. Like, how great I was, and you know, this, you know, thank you. Like blew my mind. Good seeing you, man. Shook my hand, all of that. Like,
that just made me excited.
Me too. I'm like,
it was amazing. And I still had to like get, you know, talk myself down a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, you touched my car? Like, it's in my mind. I'm like, you touched
at the end of the day, like, you touched my car.
We never had like a solid conversation without it being something. We never like got into it bad, but it's like, you know what I mean? I'm like, you already know, I don't care for you because I made sure it was conveyed. You know what I mean? But literally, like, and then even after that, like, you know, my son went on prom a couple weeks ago, but last week, and literally like reached out and was like, hey, you know, thank you for allowing me the opportunity, you know, to pick out his stuff. And he still ain't do it, but allow me the opportunity to pick out his stuff. But I mean, I'm like, it's a step in the right direction because I wouldn't take that from him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've been the father figure. Like I wouldn't never take that from him. You know what I mean? As that being like, you know, your son, I'm not going to do that. I would never do that to you. Like I said, it didn't come through, but then still even reached out and said, hey, listen, I know he's going to look well. Anthony always make sure he's taken care of. Like, I'm like, well, where's this? Who is this person? Like, I don't know. Like, he's like, yeah. So he's a master manipulator too, but it genuinely, like, it's genuine. Like, even
because you'll feel it. You'll feel it.
Yeah, like they were able to have a conversation. He said, listen, you know, and whatever it is, I'll go half with you guys. You know what I mean? And we're gonna pray that it comes to pass. Like, you know what I mean? But even with that, it's just like it's not a beef because now he's going into like his junior year. He's only in 10th grade, but he went on somebody else's 11th grade situation. But like, you know, it's like he went into his junior year and graduation and stuff like that. And we're going to be in spaces where we may have to really, you know, cohabitate. And that was like one of my, you know, my triggers, you know what I mean? Because with my oldest son, it was the thing. You know, at his 8th grade graduation, 12th grade graduation was no issue, you know what I mean? Because he wasn't there. But where it was, and, you know, 8th grade, it was just like, it was, the tension was like, you could cut it with a knife. You know what I mean? So now, yeah, with my youngest son, it was like, oh, okay, well, God, like, I was like, okay, here we go, we're living this cycle. But, you know, maybe prayerfully we're going a different direction. So
yeah, perfect. You know what I realized.
Kudos to you, bro. Sorry, Jay-Z. Kudos to you.
No, that's good, because you know what, we gotta share grandkids with these people.
Woo, we are. Don't scare me.
No, but serious. I have though. I have.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Because I'm in a similar situation where a couple has to share their grandkids and they're no longer together. And it's like, you kind of got to cohabitate, because we not having two different parties for y'all.
Right. Not the grandparents.
We not doing that. You know what I mean? But still, you know what I mean? Like, it's good. That's a good step in the right direction, for real. Someone commented, that's beautiful hearing how you were raised and how your family dynamic is now as an adult. True praise report. I believe that was your you coming from a single mom and now married to a single mom. But yeah.
I want to comment on how you are handling things now. I too was not the best in the beginning. You know, I've been at your house many a times. Your wife has had to counsel me many of times. Even going through her stuff, she like, this is what you have to do. Now I like the fact that you're like, you talk about the maturity and the fact that like eventually we all have to come together and be this one unit for this one person or these couple of people. I too, over the last year and a half or two, maybe, Jazzy, has had to do that. I mean, you were here March 11th, and it's, you know, there's a whole crew, this whole squad of them.
Growth.
Yeah. Yeah, So I understand where you're coming from when it's like, you know, like at some point in life, you kind of just have to like, all right, we about to do this. Like, we about to be at prom. We about to be at graduation. We're about to have a party. We're about to do this. And you kind of got to, like, let all that stuff go. Even if after the party, they disappear. Because the good Lord Jesus, okay? I'm trying to tell y'all, you'll be ready to serve, and he'll be like, don't you mess up my testimony.
I'm telling you.
Man and woman of God.
And
that's exactly. You did well when he came to that car. You did not mess up his testimony, because you could have snapped out and lost it. Like, you know.
In Emberly, I had to admit, Emberly, it was a thing. Like, but even watching, like, so my son looked like, cause he, like, my son knows my temper, so he looked at me. He's like waiting, like not nervous, but waiting to see like, well, how this is about to go. And literally, I didn't say anything. I just got quiet. And literally, he said, I know. And I was like, that went better than I would have expected. And he was like, yeah, me too. And we had a conversation about it.
I love that y'all had a conversation about it.
Like, you know, he was like, I know you don't really care for him. I said, my thing is like, listen, we don't have a personal relationship for me to like him or dislike him. My thing is about it is like, I'm the one that's stuck here, you know, or not stuck, but I'm the one that's having to deal with the aftermath of what's not done when you decide to pop in or out. And, you know, I have no problem with you even doing when you can do. But my thing is, even as a man, I even respected, even down to this prom situation, I respected him calling instead of just not doing nothing. Even if he doesn't give another dime, I respected that he reached out to me and said, well, to my wife, and said, hey, just want to let y'all know. Because now he's respecting me. Because before he would just like still deal with her as if she was the ex. So now he understands though, and that was an issue. And he respects I want to let y'all know. Please let Anthony know, like, listen, you know, I don't have it right now. Even though he's going on a trip to Puerto Rico, but I don't have it right now. You know, I don't have a little petty in me. It's all right. But I respected it. I don't have it right now, but you know, I'm let me know what everything is, and blah 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 blah. That's to me, that's a man move. That's a man move.
Yeah, because it's like you put the pride to the side. You did put the pride to the side for that.
Yeah, that's major.
It goes with the communication, though. That's the communication.
And that's all it is. That's all it is. And we could have been here. Like, you could have been at the parties. You could have been at the, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, and like I even told my wife, there's certain things I'll be able to teach them. But there's certain things that only, like, you know, like certain traits or certain backgrounds or, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, no matter what, I remember like Pastor Tim, he said one thing, no matter what, that DNA remains.
Nothing else.
So they can never meet this man in their life. That DNA remains. And there's certain traits, certain characteristics that they're just going to pick up. And there's certain things that I may not be able to speak to.
This is good.
Yeah, like, so I'm not mad at that, because there's certain questions I wouldn't be able to answer with your background or where'd you come from. Like, or even if you get into it like later on down the line medically, like I don't know anything about my father's side. So I can't say what they came from. I don't know if they dealt with cancer. I don't know if high blood pressure ran in the family. Like, it's certain things they're just going to need to know.
Yeah. That's so good.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's real good.
There's certain things you can't speak to. That's real good. I like that.
No, I like that too. And you know what? And that's why I'm so big on the village on all levels, though, not just for kids, but us, you know, older, you know, people that's older than us. Like, it is so important for you to get different perspectives from everybody, especially your bloodline. And we can go all the way deep on that, like just how we communicate with each other differently and understand each other. So for it to be DNA connected, like, you're going deep. Like, that's good. That's good.
That is good. Oh, my. Okay, dropping the jewels today.
I learned a little bit.
No, but honestly, like, it's like that little boy, he can act just like his dad. Like, and I'm like, did your dad tell you that? And like, or did your dad teach you how to? He was literally singing a song his dad used to sing all the time. I'm like, did you hear that from your dad? Like, how does this happen? Like, you know, like, not to say he definitely sees his dad, but it's just like,
where they come from.
Yeah.
When Kylie acts unfamiliar, I say, and she say, well, I be like, you must be acting like them people, because
my baby, like, she when she get about it, I'm like, that's your mom.
It's just reality. It's just certain things that it's certain things that I even just what I picked up on, even about, you know, like the fathers, you know, it's certain things that I picked up on. It's just like, oh yeah, you know what? Yeah, I can see that. Just from what I see, we never like sat and had deep conversation. We weren't like friends. We didn't hang out. We didn't grow up together. But there's certain things that I can see. It's like, yeah, I can see.
But that we won't see. I don't get half of it, honestly. That's why we have you here, because we're like,
no, she says that a lot. She does not. She does.
I don't get it, because so help me. So okay, AJ, and please let us know when it's time to go. All right?
Yes. Oh, you good.
Okay, so help me understand because you mentioned it. You said like the fact that he communicated, that says a lot. So what is that? Like, why is communication sometimes hard? Like, especially if it's in regards to like instruction or like criticism.
Well, I think for a man that's hard, period. Especially coming from a woman, you know what I mean? Because we're innately dominant, you know what I mean, to a degree. So, or innately like leaders. So if somebody's coming to you telling you, well, do this way, do this that way, it's kind of hard. It's very hard. So especially if it's coming from somebody that is considered like your past or your ex, or you know what I mean, and it maybe like clearly all didn't work out for a reason. So something about y'all clashed. And y'all just couldn't make work. So I think it was just something of like just stepping out of the pride of being like, okay, well, you know, if you don't do it my way, this is what it is. If you ain't rock with me this way, not realizing like you look crazy. Like, so now you leave room for people to like talk negatively about you, or even like for your child to form that opinion. And I love the fact that my boys loved me, but it's like I didn't want it as necessarily at the expense of, you know what I mean, the father's like not being
like
glorified or not being respected. Like that was never like, you know, my conversation. I don't speak negatively in front of them. If they heard something, possibly. I'm not gonna lie, possibly yes. But overall, like if it's something where I'm like really like livid, I shut my mouth. Or you know what I mean? Like, because I realized that I never want to make it seem like, oh well, maybe my mom would have let me if you didn't, or if you weren't here. You know what I mean? And that's
right. I don't want to.
As a little boy, as a child, period. I mean, that's something that at one it may cross your mind because you do ask why.
Yeah.
You know
that's why I keep God and Tristan between us.
So because
it crosses my mind a lot. Right. Like, well, I'm not gonna say a lot. It has, you know, but like, because it's like I would just do better if I just do it by myself. Like, you know, like, because it's easier to just do it by yourself than to have to communicate, you know, or have to deal with like, you know, other things, frustrations and stuff. So that's good. Thank you for that. And someone commented that, like, you know, I guess guys feel disappointed. Like,
it's embarrassing.
Okay.
It has to be embarrassing. I don't care how great you are, if you wanted to be a father, not wanted to be a father, whatever it may be, like, or if you came from something and you see the same disappointment that you did. Or if you come from like, you know, if you come from, like you said, the 2-parent household and you look at you now and you do nothing for yours and you lived a great life. It's like, that has to, I don't care where you are. I don't care if you in your high state, your drunk state, your quiet moment, you know what I mean? Or if you see a picture of somebody, it has to cross your mind. Like I can't imagine somebody doing more for my daughter than I did. And I had an opportunity to. I'm not just talking about financial, especially like living in a house with them, and I couldn't imagine that. So that has to be hard in itself.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest. I'm about to be real.
I was about to be transparent.
Go ahead, you go ahead, talk.
So first, let me speak to the how you were saying instructing and criticism. In the very beginning, I'm better with communication now, but I grew up just really quick. My parents went together, but they co-parented, and I knew I was very much so involved with my dad. He was involved just as much as my mom. So I never really seen like issues there. Like I didn't know about them, but hindsight, like moving forward to me, I was not the best communicator with Kylie's dad. It was more so me like talking at him, telling him what to do, and where he's like older than me a lot. So me being in a position where I've never been a mom before, right? I just seen my mom be a mom and other moms be moms. So I'm trying to figure out like how my situation about to work with me and Kylie, and kind of like how you were, Jason. Like I'm confused. Like, wait a minute, my dad wasn't around. Even though my parents were together, he still was around. I don't know how to, deal with this. And I realized that me talking to him the way that I was not the best way to get the job done. Or to get what I needed for her, because he would shut down and he would move on. Like it would be like, oh, I ain't talking to you. So yes, I had a moment of bitter baby mama that was in the beginning, but God bless that man now. But now we're able to have conversations, and it's not a talk at thing. It's more like, hey, this is what I think about this. What's your opinion, or how do you feel about it? And I always try to include him with things. And I know in the back of my mind, sometimes I feel like you, Jazz, like I'm gonna do this by myself. Like we're gonna figure it out. Like God gonna provide, because that's what He do. He already doing it, so He gonna keep providing. But it's like the Lord is like,
my son need his dad though.
The only kingdom that He know, that He in tune with. So you gonna be bitter baby mama, or you gonna show him God's love?
Yeah,
you're the only person in his life that may show like, okay, I can run with the best of them. I can give you, I could be smart, I could be petty, I could do that, do all of that. But that's his pattern. How was Kylie being blessed? How was Kylie developing a relationship if your barking is preventing that from happening?
Right.
And I think that what some of us have to do, and if you're on the line and you go back and forth with your co-parent, I think you need to step back and assess how you communicate, because like you said, men are dominant just by nature. They're prideful by nature. So here we are coming like talking down on them because they're not doing or won't do or can't do. Everybody's situation is different.
Yeah.
Mine's a little different. I don't know if it's a can't or won't. I really think it's a won't. Like can't. I'm sorry. I think it's a can't more so than a won't. Because when he can, he does. If that makes sense.
Okay.
So I think that we should, if whoever needs to hear this, but I think that we should also assess self too when it comes to these situations.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it can be us causing the break or causing it breaks down somewhere, and it could be how we communicate.
That's good, kid.
Yeah.
I can do the opposite. I can like not say stuff, which is still not good either. That's not okay either. I think, I mean, I don't think I was the best either if you're talking about communication in the beginning. Definitely in the later, like after, I feel like after I got over like the breakup, I was like a lot better, you know? So, but yeah, like, and it gets to be frustrating at times. And you know, you just gotta, again, going back to how is this going to bless Tristan? How, you know, I don't want him to be, I don't want, because then ultimately it spills out on them, you know, the frustration still spills out on them, and that's not fair. They don't even know why you're frustrated, you know, or just to teach them good communication skills too. Cause I'm not arguing in front of him. Like, and I even got checked like not that long ago. Like, we're not even having a serious conversation in front of the kids. Like, you know what I mean? And you know what? You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. One thing that I wanted to talk about, I mean, to mention what you said, I honestly was disappointed in the beginning of my breakup because I'm like, my mom did it?
Wow. Oh, wow.
That's good. That's good. That's
like,
good.
Dang, like, how the heck I get here? Like, but
yeah, that is.
You know, like, and it's just, it was definitely a lot of like prayer and God and, you know, village because I was disappointed. I was very disappointed in myself because I'm like, I don't even know how I put me or my kid in this situation. Like how? So.
And I think that's fair. Like, I was even disappointed because my thing is I never wanted to be in a situation where we struggled to a certain degree. You know, we had our tight spots here, but I even had my moments of like presenting and I have my own biological son. You know what I mean? So it was a piece for me. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, here I am breaking my neck technically for somebody else's son and sons, and then it's like me. Wow. And I love my daughter to death. I absolutely love her, but it's like it's still a difference of not having that. So that's something that I too had to work through. You know what I mean?
Wow, that's good.
You know what I mean? And not making sure that you don't resent a decision that I made. You know what I mean? It's so easy to fall. Like, so many different like spectrums and sectors of it. Like, you know, like I said, it's, and like you said, we spilled over with the kids. Literally, I get that aspect of it because, like I said, it was certain things that my mom would cry about or certain conversations that they would have. And I was just that kid. It was just, you know, I'm listening and I'm like, oh man, like that's me. I'm like, dang man, like, you know, this is my mom. You know what I mean? It's something she would never say, and she would come out and laugh or, you know, make everything okay. But I'm like, you would know, kids pick up on.
Listen,
they know.
They know. Like, you're so, like
talking to your girlfriends in codes. He like, yeah. So basically, my dad didn't do. Now you feel this way about my dad because he ain't show up. You're like, yeah, girl, because you know he ain't even call. He ain't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Listen, we're aware. Like, oh, they talking in code now. Oh, okay. Let me really listen.
Yes, right. So my daughter would start like saying the words to us and like regurgitating the conversation. I'm like, oh man, she can really spell. Like,
yeah.
Like, oh wow, this is bad. So it was a thing. Yeah. So it takes time. It's a thing.
Learning that communication for your kids, man. How to hold it, like how to keep it together for your kids, whether you're the single dad or the single mom or the co-parent. It's just like learning to put your frustrations aside. Ooh, that's a battle. I know that we've all experienced that because we're dealing with other people.
It's not
that
easy
is a battle. It's kind of like, okay, then you get this face that comes up to you, and then you're frustrated, and they're like, "Mom," because this how y'all niece be getting me. She'll be like, you know, Mom, I miss my dad. Now I just got the phone with her dad, right? I'm on boil times 10. She like, I miss my dad. And you know, I just be staring at her like, okay, baby. Well, he probably misses you too. You should probably give him a call. And she's like, you know what? I'm gonna call him. And they're on the phone busting it up. He laughing like it's funny. And I'm over here in this space all upset. And then I check myself like, sis.
Yeah.
Like really calm down.
Yeah.
Decompress and really process the conversation. And see where, okay, this ain't working, Lord. This piece ain't working. I went into this conversation without consulting God. Because sometimes we go into these things without consulting God, like what to say, how to say, what to do, what not to do. And go in because that's how we feel, that's our emotions. And then
they're valid
though. But are we moving in the right time?
Right. It's not.
Are we moving in the right time sometimes? And it's just like, okay. And then it's like, I got to communicate with my kid about this said person. I have to then call back because now the kid is like, oh, daddy's coming to get me. Then you got to call him back and communicate with him. Like, okay, so what we doing? How's this working out?
Next test.
Right.
They come to your front door. Come and get your baby. And you're like, okay, have a great time. And all the while in your mind, you're like, if you would just be this consistent and this fast when I need you to do something for her.
And honestly, and I think that was my wife's thing was, she said, like, it'll be just easier if I don't deal. And that was the approach that I won't say we took in the beginning, like, just don't deal. And when they would come around, because we knew they wouldn't be inconsistent, just don't deal. And I'm just really starting to understand. And we went through years of like smooth selling because we just didn't deal. And they didn't try to deal. Yeah. So it was like, I was like, the blended family thing ain't that bad. Like, what? Yeah, all right. So when you start coasting, here comes a phone call, a text message around the birthday of Christmas, of course.
I'm trying to tell you. And then have to let them.
Yeah, and then you have to hear how you struggle to figure something out. And you don't know, maybe they're struggling too. Struggle to figure something out, and they come back with bags of this and toys of this and the stories of what they did instead of that. I'm like, yo, but you don't know leading up to this, like, this case, he reckless.
It's, and that's such a good point. I'm gonna be honest. I'm being very transparent. As much so, Tristan's dad is involved, right? Tristan sees his dad. The hard parts is the everyday hustle and bustle, like. You get to see him at these moments. He's not in school. He's not, like, the waking up in the middle of the night, the bad dreams, the throwing up, the doctor visits, those times that I really
need to support,
really be wanting somebody else to be there. And it's like, I gotta do it all by myself, plus go to work and provide for him and do everything else under the sun.
Yeah.
It's like I want some relief somewhere. Like, help me, because I am feeling like I'm in this by myself. Like, I am sacrificing a lot, and maybe it's because we don't communicate on a daily basis. I don't know what's going on with you, and honestly, in my head, it's not that I don't care, but because I have so much other stuff going on, I don't have time to, and it's like, I don't, like, it's so, and then they're not perfect kids, great kids, lovely kids, but like, come on. I'm not talking to my friend right now. Oh, the teacher did this to me. Oh, I gotta practice my drumming and my piano and my acting and practice swimming and like, it's and I'm a nurse practitioner, and I got my own business, and I got so it's that for me. And it's like, that's the part where I'm like, do you not know, care, see it? Like,
honestly, I really don't think it's something that you know. Even with me living it, I don't think that it's something that you know until you're in it. Like that day-to-day hustle and bustle of the demand of it, not the optional things, the demand of having to. And if you have a kid that's overactive, or if you have a kid that's on the spectrum, or if you have a kid that's like deals with any of these type of things, or a kid that's different, you know what I mean? Like than the rest of the kids or the rest of the cousins, or you know what I mean? So, or if your kid is the one that may get more than maybe some of the other cousins, some of the friends, it can really become a thing of it's like, yo, like literally, I'm having to shape this thing. So I think that if it's just like basically you picking up a niece or a nephew, you pick them up, you do a little some fun with them, you talk a little bit, you call and check in on them. All right, niece, all right, nephew, love you.
Right.
And that's what it is. And honestly, like I said, even with me and my wife being together, I'm have to hop off in a second. This is so good. We need part 2. Part three. But even in that moment of saying like the frustration of even now, like, you know, it's me and her, and there's certain things where she's just like, she like, hey, like, what's up? You know, type of thing. And it's like, I know she got a business, I got a business. I'm heavily in ministry. She, you know, she doing all types of God the core, everything, what the case can be. So, you know what I mean? And it's like literally, I mean, it was at some points, it was just like literally we were just crossing paths, like literally just crossing paths. And I'm like, yo, literally, I don't see how people do this with like 3 and 4. I have a friend, she has like 5 or 6 kids, and she does it.
And she does it. God bless her.
You know what? I know some amazing people that do it too. I'm like, and you got time for me?
Yeah, no, for real.
When I say literally, and she does it. Like I tell her all the time, I'm like, we're the same age. I'm like, I don't understand how you do this. Like, you don't. She never puts a man in front of her kids. She never like.
I love it. Come on,
I tell her all the time, like her kids are always well taken care of. They're well kept. They're respectful kids. They still do activities. I'm like, sometimes I'm frustrated with us 3, and my oldest is 19, so he's off doing his own thing. I'm frustrated really with these 2 that we have to monitor, and you know they don't even do that much.
Right.
And literally, their father lives walking distance, and won't do. You listen. Women, God knew who to give it to. Because it would be, I mean, when I tell you, like literally, the rate would be the rate of abandoned children would be so high, and I promise you.
I love it. I thank you so much. Y'all heard that he is going to come for a part 3.
So good.
Yeah, so we appreciate you. If y'all are compelled, please. Oh, I missed the part. Sorry. Look at me. If y'all are compelled, please, drop Cash App for Mr. AJ. I'm just gonna.
And I just want to put something out there while Jay-Z is fixing it. So AJ left out a few things about himself. He is singer-songwriter.
Yes.
Vishen. He styles. He helped. Listen, he needs to add life coach. I'm gonna just put that out there. But he has a single release coming up on May 20th, guys.
Yes.
You can download his music actually right now. One of his singles right now on Apple Music. Where are you? Apple Music, Spotify. Where we at?
All of them. Always
all
there.
The media music platforms.
I love it. And you was just in a play. Like, come on,
like this man wears many hats on top of dad. Okay, so yes, he understands the hustle and bustle, the everyday life of being a dad, and we really appreciate him for taking out his time. We know you got to go because you're getting ready for.
I remember her when they yelling at me now.
I'm excited though because I've been practicing.
I thank you. We can stay on for a second. Thank you so much, AJ.
I love you.
Love y'all. Love y'all.
Later.
Love you too.
All right. That was good.
Oh,
I really did enjoy that. I did. You guys really did enjoy it. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat so that next time when we do this again, I'm not gonna say when we do this again, that we can address those questions because I think his perspective was really good tonight. I learned some stuff.
I did too. Honestly, I did too.
Personally, and just about blended families. I learned some stuff tonight.
Yes, and it's so interesting how it's so many different scenarios. Like his coming from a single parent and having to be that, but like he's our kids, you know, like right. And like knowing, like, you know, like how he said he drew his own conclusion and not forcing, you know, not being forced his other people's opinions on, right? Because that's not cool, you know. Kids are gonna know what kids know once they get there. So I thank you for coming on too again, Key. Look at you.
Thanks for bringing me out of my comfort zone, Miss Jazzy. Dr. Jazzy, as I like to call you. I appreciate this time, though. It is a healthy conversation.
No, it's good. It's good. I'm glad y'all were transparent. Like, you know, it's because honestly, we're not alone.
We're not alone. And then how will we heal? How can we heal or help other people heal if we're not being our honest self? Because we don't go through these things for ourselves or by ourselves. We definitely go to help other people because that's who we are. We're created to be relational beings.
Right.
We have to help each other heal. So I think it's important being transparent about everything. I mean, if you got questions, please ask them. I'm gonna answer them to the best of my ability.
Right. We have a comment that like me being a stay-at-home mom and my son took a 20-minute nap today. So I got no break and now having a meltdown. So I have to get off this live and it's so good. Gonna watch it later. So thank you. Thank you.
I said take time for yourself, please.
Yes.
Please take time for yourself. I know that we're living in a world.
I said I get it. I think they were talking about the hustle and bustle.
Yeah, you do that, girl. Kudos to you because you really need to be holding it down.
I listen.
And when you add other kids on top, like extra top.
I love them kids though. They see what y'all don't realize. For one, I love the kids. For one,
oh, we know.
Yeah, I love them. But they are like my wingmen, right? Like if the other kids are around, I get a break. Like, you know what I mean?
I get it. I really do.
I learned that early on. Like I was like, oh, they're playing together. I don't have to be involved. So, but you know, it's hard if you only have one kid, you know, like you gotta do. So so no,
benefit when you get all the kids.
That scenario when he said it's like having a niece or nephew.
That was so good, right?
Because let me tell you, I literally was just talking to my brother, maybe, how I put on my best behavior when my nieces are around. I'm like, yes, because they're looking at me and I gotta be on my best behavior and be a woman because and I was like, and when Tristan's around, I don't have to be like that. I just, you know, I'm like a little bit more like toned down. Tristan not looking at me like as an example of being a woman, you know what I mean? Like my nieces are different. And for him to say that, I'm like, yo.
Right.
So if you don't know, you just don't know.
You just don't know. And I think sometimes that's what it boils down to because we not giving anybody an excuse not to take care of their kids because that's not what I'm for. But I think it boils down to people's upbringing. Like they just don't know. And because we are in Christ, we knew that we wanted to break a generational curse.
Absolutely.
We knew that we wanted something different for our children than what we've seen maybe friends go through or even our own parents go through.
Right.
So we knew that we had to do things different.
Right.
And I think that not giving them passes, but the Lord is allowing us to have more of an understanding. Not that it's okay not to take care of your kids. I'm going to keep repeating that. But I think he's allowing us to have more of an understanding of where it can be coming from, like what the root is. So then the Lord can navigate us on how to communicate, how to react, how to do, how to, because
I know you can love.
And I know you talk a lot about that. Like we talk to each other about conversations we're going to have before we have them for correction, for you can say, sis, that's flesh, that's not out of love.
Right.
That's your feelings. You know what I mean? Right. So I think that the Lord allows us to really like see, like, okay, this is what you're giving us. This is where I come in and say, hey, like, I understand where you're coming from. And I'm not saying that I got it all together either, but here is where I need you to fill in. Here's where I need your help.
Yes.
And then if they don't understand, if they say they're gonna do it, you give them time. But put boundaries on their time.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
I think that's important. Put boundaries on their time and say, okay, so if this is something that you feel like you can't do, what if we put this in place? It's all about how we communicate with them. And to the moms and dads that don't get breaks, I legit am going to pray for y'all because I know how that feels at times.
Yeah.
That's why it's important, if you can, because everybody's situation is different. Lean on your village. Lean on your village, please do, because it's important. Because if you are not the best you can't be the best for them.
Parent, yeah. You
cannot be the best parent for them. And because you want to be the best you and the healthiest you for them, take the time out, mom. When they take that 20-minute nap, if you close your eyes for 20 minutes, that's fine. If you sit in the quiet bathroom because that's your space, do that for yourself, because
that's so good.
Important. It's so important. Because they can't be having a meltdown and you are too. And then sometimes maybe they need to see you having a meltdown.
Right.
Just for them to say, you know what, mommy's human too.
Yeah. That's so good, kid.
Mommy's human too.
Yeah.
And today, maybe I just need to chill. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like that, moms, dads, blended families, take the time out to create ways of healthy communication for your kids and for your your co-parent, or you being.
And again, whatever that co-parent is, if it's
whatever,
if it's your mama, if it's your dad, if like you are the parent and your dad is helping you with, you need to have healthy communication with that person too.
Yes.
If that co-parent is your spouse, that's not your kids. Parent, like the bonus parent, you need to have good communication with them too, because we have to do better. We have to do better with that for sure.
Because I wanted to touch on the respect thing, as far as, so he's married, he went into the marriage, no kids, they have kids. Like, how did they have like his direct communication or respect with the boys? Like, did they come in and they were just cool?
Yeah, we didn't even get
some respecting, because eventually, I think that's important to go over too, because we have blended families.
Right.
Some people may have went in with their own kid as well, or with kids without kids at all.
Right.
That's a good thing to touch on about the respect level.
You definitely gotta get it. That's good.
Getting into like, did y'all mesh, or was there like how did you handle that? How are you guys handling it?
Honestly, I ain't even gonna lie, I get a little envious when people are like, because my son was only like 2 when I met my husband. I'm like,
right, because it seems like it would be easier because they were growing up, Now you're like,
opinionated. There we go. Yeah. Kid, my God.
I mean, it speaks their minds, and they're 11, so they feel like they got a lot of mind.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's so good.
Well, again, sis, thank you for coming on. Thank you for getting AJ on. And he said he's gonna come back. So
we have to listen.
We have to keep on having these.
If your friends ain't supporting the vision, are you my friend? Okay.
Listen, that's a whole nother segment. Like, is your friend marrying the vision? Because
listen.
So all right, lovely. I will talk to you soon, y'all. Thank you again for joining and commenting. And next week we are going to have the winner of the challenge, who was Tara.
Congratulations.
Yes, she posted and she joined and just got back from a trip. So I am super duper excited to have her on next week. And the following week, I believe we have our travel agent.
Ooh, so we all need a vacation.
Yeah, so if y'all have any suggestions on any conversations, that y'all would like to hear, or if y'all would like to be a part of it, please let me know. My email is garneryourhealth@gmail.com, GarnerYourHealth@gmail.com. All right.
Again, watch the video. If you've missed it, watch the video.
Yes,
and
let us know. Right. And please turn on your, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you said that. Turn on your notifications, like and subscribe. I sound like my baby.
Like and subscribe down below.
Listen. All right, y'all.
I love you guys. Bye. Thank you, Jess. Yeah.